Hello and welcome to my fellow Europa League finalists. Welcome back to the United Stand. Hit the like and the share button. Now, get it done. Just get liking it, get sharing this content across your social media platforms. I'm Terry Flewers from here on the United Stand and, of course, the Football Terrace as well. Loads to talk about tonight. I'm going to give you my take on yesterday evening, the final against Tottenham, what I think should happen. We've got some big transfer stories as well as Man United are well underway in relation to getting their business in order ahead of what could be and should be an epic summer for our beloved Manchester United. Let us know where you're tuning in from this Friday evening. Well, it might not even be the evening where you are. Could be the morning, could be the afternoon. We're global here. Let us know where you are. Be great to hear from each and every single one of you. Who we got here so far? I can see all the comments coming in. Gabrielle, Rob, hello, Don. See Gabrielle here. Red Rebel, Aniso, Gavin, Rob, JT. Welcome. Regan, and many more of you. There's loads more of you. Welcome to the show. How are we all feeling? How are we all feeling now? About 24 hours later. I'd love to know. I can't lie. I'm chuffed. I'm over the moon. I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely, but it has been an horrendous season. We know it has. It's not been great. It's been poor. But we're in a European Cup final. We've got a chance of Champions League football, the money that comes with it, a chance to accelerate the improvement of our squad. And I thought we were fantastic last night. I thought we were fantastic to respond the way we did. Sociedad. Bilbao attacked us. They made it hard. They scored that goal early on, and we weren't quite at the races, but Amorim made the changes. The players stepped up again, and we've done it in every single round, every single game of Europe this season. Whether we've been the better team for 90 minutes or whether we need to react, we did. And listen, I'll be honest with you, it's cup football. That last 20 minutes, 25 minutes made up for everything for me. Scored some excellent goals. Money Mace on point as well with 2x. He scored a Makeda. I never thought I'd see that goal again at Old Trafford, and he did it last night, which I was very, very impressed with. Almost from the halfway line as well, with his left peg to boot. Was a brilliant night, and I can't wait. I cannot wait now for that final. I really, really can't wait for it. And a lot of you won't know, my dad's a Tottenham fan. So my dad supports Spurs, so it's a little bit of a family connection. But I'm very confident as well. How about you? How confident of you are you that Manchester United will pick up another European trophy to add to our vat of trophies thus far? I'd love to get your opinions on it. I'd love to get your views in the comments section right now. But I'm going to say this straight away. We're going to win. Manchester United are going to win the Europa League in 2025 in Bilbao. I very, very strongly believe this. Tottenham, they've beaten us 3 times on the bounce. They've been a very good team as well in Europe this season. They've got some dangerous players, some excellent defenders. I'm not disrespecting them in any way, shape, or form. I go back to that last game at White Hart Lane. Yes, they beat us 1-0, but we missed chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. And we had a bench full of babies. The vast majority of our squad is back fit. We've got more firepower and more ability now in this team. Ahmad is looking sharp since his return. Mount's on the goal-scoring trail. Even Højlund's got a couple of goals recently. Bruno's in maybe the best form of his Manchester United career. And we really did create those openings and those opportunities. And that was away at White Hart Lane. I think in a neutral stadium with the pressures of a final, I really strongly believe that Ruben Amorim and these Man United players will get the job done. And it'll be, listen, if Spurs do it, congratulations to them. I'll say well done. But I believe Man United are picking up their second Europa League in this last decade and will be playing Champions League football next year. I believe. Do you believe that we're going to do it? Let us now know in the comments section below. What do you mean that was a short show? The stream's gone? No, the stream's still on. You've got to refresh your streams. Refresh your stream. I just read your comments there. No, the stream is still here. We had a super chat that came in here earlier. It says, what's up, Terry? Hope you're having a great Friday. That is from Luis. I am. I'm having a very, very nice Friday. There was no way today wasn't going to be good. After yesterday, I'm confident ahead of the Europa League final. I feel that we've had a bad Premier League season. No one's going to paper over those cracks. No one's going to pretend suddenly that it was great. But we can go into the game against West Ham, Chelsea, and then I don't even know. We play final Villa. 3 tough games. We can go into those with no real worries, no real concerns, no anxiety, because they just don't matter now. Some people will pretend they do and create narratives that they do. But as long as we can keep our squad fit, the final, by the way, isn't even at the end of the season. As you all know, it's in, what is that, about 10, 11 days time. So, yeah, look, we can end the season on a very good high and hopefully invest that money into the next campaign, improve that squad. So, yes, very, very good Friday. Sully here says, Bruno will not lose 2 Europa League finals. Sorry, Spurs. Yeah, Bruno is one of the reasons why I really believe. Bruno Fernandes is one of the reasons I believe we will win it. You know, quite a few of these United players, him and Maguire, Shaw, they're going to remember that pain of losing the Europa League final. And I think they'll get the job done. And that's not me overlooking Tottenham and saying they're rubbish. I've already addressed it, but I just think we'll have enough. I have a good feeling for our next few fixtures, is what Liam says. Well, hopefully, Liam, we play with a little bit of relaxation. We play with a little bit of confidence because the result doesn't matter. And we don't have the pressures looming over us of trying to make the final. We're there. So, yeah, look, I hope we do so well. I hope we don't risk anybody against Chelsea. I hope we don't need to break our backs. We don't need to run through brick walls. Chelsea are going to be playing with intensity next Friday because they're trying to qualify for the Champions League via the league. And, you know, we just don't need to take any unnecessary risks ahead of the biggest game of our season. Emily here says, aside from the first game at Old Trafford, Spurs haven't looked all that convincing against us, even though they won. No, I agree. And that's why listen, if you do results-based analysis, Spurs are going to win. If you believe in probability, you might say Man United, because how likely is it? If you actually look through the record books of the top 6 teams playing each other, how regularly in the last 20 to 30 years have any of us beaten one of the fellow members of the top six 4 times on the bounce? It doesn't happen very often. On top of that, we did play a lot better in the previous 2 games. The Carabao Cup game came too early in the life of Ruben Amorim, in my personal opinion, and we had massive injuries for the 1-0 defeat there. So on performance-based analysis, we've got better each time, and I believe on this, the 4th attempt this season, we'll get the job done. I agree completely with you on that. In other news this evening, we're going to jump into some of the transfer news that is circulating as per the title of this show. By the way, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please get that done. Let's get that up. With 2,500 people watching, let's get it to 1,000 likes like that, please, people. Let's do it. But there's some big transfer demands from Ruben Amorim, and he's absolutely right to start making them. We know that the Cunha deal is very close, and that doesn't rely on anything to do with Europe. We know that Liam Delap is currently the number 1 choice of striker. And it was an interesting article that I read today in The Athletic that spoke about how the necessary funds to land him are already in place. Cunha and Delap, the money for that already exists. I was speaking on the Football Terrace earlier this week to Ben Jacob, who very much confirmed that. The deal, though, is expected to take some time with Delap. Part of that is, will Man United be in Champions League football next season? Now, I get that Ruben Amorim has said he doesn't want a player that isn't 100% committed to Man United. The only problem with that logic, I want him to say it, by the way, is the reality of the situation. There are multiple big teams with multiple options for Liam Delap. And if he really is our number 1 target, I think we've got to be able to offer him Champions League football personally. Not that he's in a position to be demanding it, but it's the nature of that situation. What I also think's nice, though, is if it does take time, I don't think Man United are stressed about it. Because I think there's the possibility for us to turn our attentions elsewhere to somebody like a Victor Gyökeres, should we make it into the Champions League by beating Tottenham. The player hasn't announced what his preferred destination is yet. I don't think that's a bad thing for Man United at this juncture. At the same time, there's an additional story today in relation to Ekitike. Now, that's come out from Fabrizio Romano, not directly about Man United, but he says here, and I'll read it verbatim. He says that Hugo Ekitike will leave Frankfurt this summer, playing clear as several top clubs have already made contact. Premier League top sides approach Frankfurt and the players' camp. Ekitike wants to focus on reaching the Champions League with Frankfurt and then decide his future right after. So again, another deal that Man United can't accelerate at this point, and that makes complete and utter sense. But there's Delap, there's Ekitike. I still personally think there's a possibility that Gyökeres could happen. And that's why winning this Champions League game is so important. But I'd love to get your takes on this, people. I'd love to understand what you make of these stories today. The money's already in place for Delap. The money's already in place for Cunha. That's coupled with an additional story that's come from Sky today that says Man United want Delap and Cunha. Plus, and this is where I'm starting to get a little bit excited and I can't help myself, plus one of Mbeumo or Semenyo. And when you start looking at these players, I was looking at the numbers earlier, like Ekitike this season, 22 goals and 11 assists. Semenyo, 11 goals and 7 assists. But the standout for me, because it's the Premier League element and he can play in that 10 role, Mbeumo, sitting there with 18 goals and 7 assists this season in the Premier League alone. And I know Newcastle were looking at Mbeumo. I understand it's going to be a tough one for Manchester United. But can you just imagine the difference in our attack next season for a moment? Just sit there for a moment right now. Close your eyes and visualize a strike force that has Delap or Gyökeres as the 9 with an Mbeumo and a Cunha behind them. Bruno Fernandes feeding the ball in. Ahmad starting with them some games, sometimes at right wing back, sometimes on the bench coming on for impact. Mainu behind them. For me, it changes everything about us next campaign. I feel between Mbeumo, let's just say it's Delap rather than Gyökeres because we're more linked to him. Delap, Gyökeres, Mbeumo, Delap, Gyökeres, Semenyo. If we're able to pull that off, you're talking about 40 additional goals minimum in the Premier League next year. 40 goals minimum. Players that are comfortable in that 10 position and are not wingers pretending to be 10s. Players that are multifaceted. They can play out, they can drift out wide, they can play centrally, they can create, they can score. One of the most important components that we're missing is that power and that pace. And the reports seem really credible. And this is why I've pushed back for so long when people have said the manager ain't good enough. Don't give him any players. We're crazy. I think we need to do this. I really do think. And more importantly than all of that, the age profile. The age profile is phenomenal. Experience without being on their last legs. Premier League proven. Physical. Technical. Yes, please. Get this done. I will say this now about Ineos. Ineos deliver this, and there'll be a lot of people will change their minds. If they're getting the technical ability right, the power and pace right, the age profile correct, and it delivers, there's going to be a lot of excited Manchester United fans around. I 100% guarantee that. I really, really do. Give us your thoughts and your opinions on these links. If you had to choose between Mbeumo and Semenyo, who are you going with? When it comes to the strikers, Ekitike could be an option. Delap is there. If we get that Champions League money, should it be a Gyökeres? I want to get your opinions right now in the live chat or in the comment section below if you're watching the playback. Malbsir says that Osimhen was the guy, but was never going to happen. I like Osimhen, objectively speaking. Subjectively speaking, I like him. My concern is that no big clubs are willing to pay him his wages. So the objective part of my brain just says there's a little red flag there. And this is how I assess football players, based on who wants to buy them sometimes. It's not how I completely assess them. It's a train of thought. Put aside what I think. If no big club is willing to buy a player, could I be wrong? plausible. Makes sense. Mark Ash, one of our members, says Cunha, Mbomo, Delap, Yulquez. That's a 9 out of 10 window, Terry. We have kids coming through and Leon. Yeah, look, I think Man United fans, if you could get Cunha, Mbomo, Delap, throw an Ignacio in there, throw a central midfielder like Edison in there, bring in a new goalkeeper, it wouldn't fill all the holes and all the problems, but I think you would see a seismic improvement in the way we play. Fans have become more patient, more relaxed, more excited, and look, we'd win. We'd double the amount of wins in the Premier League next year. Bare minimum, we'd be doubling those wins, in my view, with that type of window. And at the end of the day, it would prove a lot of United fans right about the size and supremacy of our football club if we were able to go out, even after coming 15th in the league, and go bang, 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 bang with that level of transfers. So, yeah, look, I really hope to God that comes through. I really, really do. Mario here says, trying not to get too excited, but what if we don't? Do you know what, Mario? That's why I always tread with trepidation. So I want these deals to happen. I want these deals to go through. I think some of them are very plausible. But when it comes to Mbomo, as an example, Newcastle United are a very attractive proposition. They are going after him. They are going to throw money at him, especially if they're in the Champions League. And I'm not going to lie, they're attractive. They're an attractive proposition. And Man United fans, as much as we love our football club, and we'd never put another team above us. Even Real Madrid, we'd never like to think, he'll pick them over us. But they're subjectively would say, do you know what? All right, fair enough. Fair enough. You're bigger, you're better. But it is plausible that Newcastle land him. So I'm not counting my chickens. And I think that's a very sensible thing, Mario, to look at and focus on. I'm not counting my chickens. I'm not getting ahead of myself. But for me, what I am very excited about is who we're linked to and why we're linked to them. And Mark and I had a conversation about this on one of the shows we did together a few weeks ago. And there's been a lot of worry and concern in the United fan base that we're only going to buy kids. Similar to what Chelsea did. Very few of the links. And even Delap is 22, turning 23. He's not a baby. Most of the links are to experienced players. And that is what's got me more excited in some respects than the actual names of players we're linked to. One of our members here, Emmerich, says Frimpong too. Well, that's an interesting one because that brings us to we'll come back to these. We'll keep talking about this stuff. But actually, no, we'll come back to that in a minute because Dumfries has come up in conversations with Gary Neville. We'll come back to that. But I want to do a few more comments first. Terry, I would sell Bruno to get 150 million for him. Would take that. Depends on who we could replace him with. But my gut right now is saying no, it's too early to sell him, personally. Just my honest gut, my gut reaction says no, not right now. Super chat here from Emily Derry says the level of competition in the squad needs to improve, especially in attack. And Emily, I love that. I love that approach. One of my kind of pet peeves is when people say, we can't buy him, it'll get in the way of Ahmad. Can't buy him. What about Rashford's development? We can't buy him. How's Mainu going to get game time? I don't believe in this notion. By and large, I don't. We need to apply pressure to these players because pressure either creates diamonds or it bursts pipes. There needs to be competition in the attack. In most roles, there needs to be competition where a player feels, if I'm not doing well, there is someone ready to step in and take over from me. I think it's so important that Man United fans learn that, really. DV here says, if Ahmad was in the team in January, easily top half of the table. Yeah, potentially. I still think there's been games. You can't discount the errors from Onana. You can't discount some of the defensive errors as well. We would have scored some more goals if he would have continued playing. But we need more than that. Matt Hall says, why do we keep putting potential signings in positions they don't play? Couldn't you make sense in the 10 shadow role? but we have Bruno as the other 10 playmaker, and Bomo isn't needed. Sign a central midfielder. It's a really good challenge, and I do like the challenge that you've made. So the thing with Mbomo is Mbomo predominantly plays right wing, centre forward, or support striker. So he can go into that striker role when needed. He can play in the right-sided 10 and drift. It's about versatility. And I love your challenge here, Matt, because this conversation happens quite a lot in the, not just the Man United sort of fan world, but in the footballing fraternity by and large. And I want to express this in the right way as best I can. I feel that we have become a little bit obsessed with the phrase, we need specialists. By the way, I agree we need to buy midfielders. I don't disagree with you on that point. But goals and the creation of goals have been two of our biggest problems this season that would have helped to kept more faith from fans, would have got more wins, higher in the table, less pressure from the media. But you also need versatility. So I go back to the point about specialists. Yes, Bruno can play in that 10. Yes, Amad can play in that 10. But we need options. There may be a game where we go, right, we're going to play Cass and Bruno as the two central midfielders, as the two sixes, whatever the expression is. And we're going to have Cunha and Mbomo in the 10s today. We're going to play Amad as a right wing back, as an example. The positions they all pick up in and out of possession are going to vary from the way that they look on the graphic anyway. There could be another game where we say, actually, today, I want a bit more guile on the ball. I want to have some more pace on the bench as a weapon in the last 20 minutes. So we're actually going to start the game with Cunha and Bruno as the 10s, as an example. So for me, I'm not overly concerned by it. Now, I know that typically speaking, Amorim has used like a sort of target man-esque number 9, but I also think we have to look at it from an angle that maybe there's a train of thought here with Cunha and with Mbomo that have both played in striker positions to have them play in what you would probably call like a false 9 position. I'm spitballing here, just spitballing and have a conversation, but playing in like a false 9 type role. So they start as a number 9, but they drop deeper, and it's actually the players that are behind them. So say it's Mbomo playing in maybe more Cunha, starts as a number 9 on the graphic, but actually drops a little bit deeper and helps bring in the Amads and the Mbomos into play. There's multiple options. And I think going back to Emily's super chat, it's so important to have squad depth. It's so important to have versatility. This season, when we had a couple of injuries in our attack, we were absolutely fried. We were absolutely roasted. We were absolutely in trouble. And we can't afford that. We can't afford that to happen. So we really got to add more firepower, more versatility to our attacking line. But I don't disagree with you, Matt, and I appreciate the super chat massively. We do need to address the midfield as well. So this here from DV, he says, anyone noticed yesterday Amorim punched something during halftime? He had a big band-aid on his knuckles after he returned from the break. Hair dryer treatment. Yeah, I hope so. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with in the sporting world punching a locker or something along those lines if you're frustrated, because the game plan was right in the first half. The execution was poor. Maguire's clearance was terrible. Onana should probably go for the save with one hand, but it was a wonder strike. But we should have been 2-1 up at half time. Bruno played in Garnacho once. Heavy touch stopped him from getting a real shot off. And then Dorgu brilliantly plays Garnacho in. He should be burying that. It should have been 2-1 to Man United at half time. There wouldn't have been all that pressure. And the manager's got to let himself be known there. Yeah, I noticed that as well. Alonso here says, our quality needs to show in this final. Results aside, our quality players have either been hurt or adjusting to the system. Cheers and welcome. It's a really great point. A really, really great point. And as soon as we started to see it click a little bit, we lost 2, 3, 4 of them to injury. Lissandro Martinez is maybe the standout example. I thought the first 5, 6 games under Amorim, he looked horrendous. And then he just started to get better and better and better through January. And then his knee went. And as soon as his knee, I was so gutted for him because he was just starting to, and it wasn't just his defending was improving. He was getting assists. He was scoring goals. He was an integral part of how we played. The Mount goal yesterday, that stemmed from the way Euro was stepping forward on the ball. Sandro Martinez does that in his sleep. So yeah, we've had far too much of that this season. I completely agree with you. Mads, thank you for saying I'm cute. I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. How well do you think Bruno will stay? Yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes will stay. Leon, that's from Leon, by the way. I do really think Leon will that Bruno will stay. I really, really do. I'm confident in that. Gabrielle, thank you for gifting 5 memberships out to the United Stand community. That means a great deal to everybody here. I'm sure it does. Alex says, so when does Amorim get a contract extension? What was he given a short contract due to FFP this season? Should things need to be reset in 2 years? Last thing we need is things being reset in 2 years from now. I look at it this way. Say we don't extend his contract. I think we'd find a manager or a head coach who likes the profiles of players that are here and can get a tune out of them. I don't think we'd be resetting again, personally. It's sensible to give him a 2.5-year contract, because if it doesn't work, we don't need another 15-20 million pound payout in a couple of years' time. It makes sense to start small, see how things look. He's been here 6 months. This time next year, we can review how things look. And that will be it. Next summer, the club will look at the situation. If we're sitting 12th, we won nothing, terrible in the Champions League, no real improvement, they won't renew. They might even sack. We're sitting 5th, purring, growing, looking dangerous. The board will look at it and say, look, we're going to give him another good summer. We're going to buy more players. Bang. 2-year contract extension. That's what they'll do. So I'm really not worried about that at all, Alex, personally. I think it's a sensible way that we've done this contract. Matt also here says, I guess I'm concerned about our budget and we need to address dire needs. Striker, 10 shadow striker, centre-back, centre-back and goalkeeper, the whole midfield. I agree. We need versatility and competition. Yeah, absolutely. Look, and we're linked to some midfielders as well. The likes of Edison's name has been mentioned. Centre-backs like Ignacio. There's obviously Savic, Milinkovic-Savic in goal. Joan Garcia, that's also he's probably going to go to Arsenal, to be fair, but he's been linked to Manchester United. So those links have certainly been there. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. The links have been there, and I'm sure there's going to be more of them moving forward. Please not Southgate. Yeah, I very much doubt that we'll be going for Southgate personally. Am I off the gummies? No, I've already taken them today. Big up the gummies. Leon here says, if Man United don't win the Europa, are United finished? No. Unless Man United go bankrupt and don't get taken over by someone, we'll never be finished. Man United win 27 years without winning a league title, and we're still the biggest team in the country. Man United are not finished. We're not in a great space right now. We've had a terrible 12 years, but we're not finished. Not finished by a long stretch of the imagination, my friend. Not finished at all. And not a great team, not title contenders, but finished. Nah, not on your Nelly, mate. Not on your Nelly. Matt Halls here says, Mbomo is not a 10. Yeah, but our 10s don't play like traditional 10s. Our 10s drift out wide. And if you watch Mbomo play, if you look at his heat map, there is, and I talk about this a lot on the football terrace, so forgive me if you haven't heard me say this before. Forget where a player stands on the graphic on Sky Sports or CBS or wherever you're watching it. Forget all of that. Look at the positions that they drift into. So if I look at Brian Mboma here and you look at his, if you look at his heat map, a lot of it is out wide. A lot of it is in those wide positions. But he also touches it, not loads centrally, but there's a lot of touches bright red in those more central to central right areas, which is more what our number 10s do. And I think that's what's really important to remember. So he does drift into the middle areas. He touches the ball a lot centrally. And that's what I mean by the versatility. So I think it's a really good point you make that he isn't the traditional number 10 like an Ozil or a David Silva. But that isn't what Man United and Ruben Amorim are looking for. It's that versatility. Some games we might need a 10 who loves to hug that right touchline. Sometimes we might need one who is more suited to sit in central like a Bruno Fernandes. We don't have that versatility right now and depth That is why we've got to add to it. That is why we've got to do it. If our 10s drift wide, what are our wide players doing in possession? Well, they're your fullbacks. But then you know what our fullbacks do in possession? They'll invert or they'll sit back. They'll invert or they'll sit back, essentially. Or overlap. So there's a number of options there, and it gives a wonderful amount of options and dichotomy to the way we attack. And I would say one of the biggest criticisms that I've had of Man United in the past 12 years is that we've been so predictable. Most of our attacks go down the left-hand side. There isn't much versatility, imagination, and unpredictability about the way we attack. Again, buying and adding quality players, then it gives you those strings to your bow, as it were. I think it's very, very important that Man United do that. I really, really do. Guys playing in Spain, goals and assists coming out his arse, 25 years old, Brazilian, can play left, right, wing back, but also the 10 role. Guys, he's ours. It's Anthony. Look, I'm really proud of what Anthony is doing. Every time I see La Liga tweet about him, I add 5 million to the asking price or whatever it is. But no, he isn't suited to the Premier League. And some of you youngsters, bless you, you won't remember Veron, you won't remember Diego Forlan and players like that. I think we're seeing something similar with Anthony. He's just not a Premier League player, but he is a good player. He's a player that could probably fetch us 40 to 50 million in the summer, and hopefully we use that to improve our current team. What am I drinking? That's Coca-Cola, just in a nice glass. So I've got a bit of a sore throat and a cold. So there we go. I just wanted a bit of sugar, really. I felt a bit tired. The thing is, if we had never signed him, we would be looking at him now. That's also very true, Daniel. And that's the thing with football fans. We're not professionals. We're not scouts, by and large. And we'll have an opinion on a player based on what we see. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. And that's why in the fan channel community, if a YouTuber in the fan channel community lost 50% of their followers every time they got a prediction wrong, they'd never grow. Because we all get things wrong, and you can't get yourselves away from that. It's just the nature of the beast. So you watch a player, you think, oh, I really like him. They can come to the Prem, and it can be one of umpteen reasons why it doesn't work. You are right. If he was doing this now at Real Betis and he hadn't played for Man United, a lot of people would be looking at him. That's a really, really great point. But no, he's not a Premier League player. Hi to Andrew Tompkins and hi to Ruth and a few others that are saying hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Kaka was the last true 10. I think there's been a few others, but yeah, he definitely was a true 10. I don't think you can get away from that at all. He just isn't a 90 million pound player. That's his fault. That's not his fault, sorry, that we paid. You are right about Anthony. He should have been a 25, 30 million pound signing, and then he'd have been looked at as a good signing for that money. How much you pay for someone plays a huge part in the assessment that's made towards you. It always has done and it always will do. You can't, I don't think you can get yourself away from that. In terms of other positions, there was another story, or not so much a story, but a conversation that I want to speak about today. Gary Neville, good old Gary Neville, has urged Man United to go out and sign the Inter Milan right wing back Denzel Dumfries to play in the 3-4-3 formation. Do you agree? Do you agree? Daniel's first question is, how old is he? I'm going to guess and say 27. Genuinely, that's a guess. 29, so he's a little bit older. He's just turned 29. A lot of yeses in here. Mark Ennis says no, but Ewan and Annie, RJP, Joseph said I prefer Frimpong. Yeah, I like Frimpong. I think Frimpong's good as a wing back. Absolutely. Dumfries is an interesting one. He's been raved about for a long time now. I was saying, of course, he's at a massive club, so that's why no other big club has come in for him. But yeah, I mean, he was fantastic, wasn't he? He was fantastic in the Champions League this last couple of games. That's probably what you don't want to get taken in by. I probably don't watch enough of him. I've watched more of Frimpong. You don't want to get taken in by a couple of Champions League performances, but he was brilliant. He really, really was good, wasn't he? He really was good. Tyler here says he's a good player, but he won't last in the Premier League for the contract he'd get. Or what you think? Like you think by like 32, 33 he's finished? Why do you think that? Joel here says he's good, but Maz can be better next season, maybe a younger profile. Maz and Frimpong are completely different profiles. Defensively, Maz is superior. Attacking wise, physicality wise, Dumfries is. And I think that our wing-back positions have probably been two of the... Listen, a lot of people, by the way, have turned so early on Dorgu. No time. Like last night, had a couple of bad touches, yes. But you also should have had... The kid should probably have about 6 or 7 assists in a Man United shirt already. But people just don't finish the chances that he creates. But so many Man United fans have kind of turned their backs already. Turned their backs, not being patient, want the finished article straight away. I'm not trying to gatekeep how fans should behave, but it's horrendous in my personal opinion. I think it's horrendous. I think it's almost lazy in many ways, the way that Dorgu is being treated. So when as per your comment that that we should go for a younger profile, I get you, but I don't want both our new fullbacks to be overly young. I want there to be a little bit of experience in there. And I do agree with the comment here that's come through from, where's that coming from Mr. Polford, that Dorgu hate is moronic, and it is moronic. Listen, I understand Man United fans are not happy. I understand content creators need things to talk about. But attacking Dorgu, I just think he's so premature, over the top, ridiculous. And I don't even know if it's moronic. I think it's fake. I don't look at Dorgu and think, yeah, there's our problem. He was an excellent outlet for us yesterday. He will get better as well. There's just no patience with people anymore. There really, really isn't. The problem, the same lots that booed Xerxes. Now, I have to hold my hands up with Xerxes. 2 or 3 months in, I was someone that was saying, get rid of him in the January. Get rid of him in the January. And some will say, well, that's kind of hypocritical considering what you're saying about Dorgu. He's only 22 himself. And I agree. I lost my head. Now, I wasn't faking it, to be fair, but I lost my head. I wasn't thinking straight. I was angry. I was annoyed. I hated how we were playing football. And I overreacted. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. Now, I don't think Xerxes ever going to be a prolific number 9, but I think there's a player in there that can help Manchester United. I still prefer him playing more in a 10 role than I do the 9 role in our current setup. I just don't necessarily know if he's suited to Ruben Amorim's style of football. He clearly wasn't bought for Ruben Amorim's style of football, so there is that side of things where Dorgu has been. So if Dorgu had been bought specifically to play for Ten Hag and he was playing like this, I'd probably have more sympathy with it. But yeah, the Dorgu stuff's crazy for me. Stephen here says, Terry, you're the busiest YouTuber in sport talk. Keep knocking the great content out and debates out on the United Stand and TFT. Great work there. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. In fact, I've done like 3 back-to-back streams and my throat, like I was fine when I went live, and now like my eyes feel like they're watering because my throat is so sore. It probably is the way I talk. I strain my voice when I talk. What I should probably do is just sit in my like relaxed voice. But then I feel like it's really boring and there's no enthusiasm in it. So I can't give the enthusiasm in my throat. Honestly, it feels like I swallowed a cactus in the last 20 minutes. Patrice Evra and Vidic struggled in their first 5 months in the Premier League after a January window. They both went on to become legends. Listen, Regal, that's a Regal comment. That is a Regal and Ream comment, my friend, because I was at their first game, or Evra definitely, I remember him playing. It was away at Man City. I was living in Manchester at the time. Went to the game, and I remember walking out, and Baz, who I was with, just went, "Who the fuck is that we've signed?" And we were all like, "Yeah, he looks really bad, doesn't he?" A year and a half later, we're loving what Evra's doing. We're loving what Vidic is doing. You've got to have a little bit of time and patience at times. And I just think we live in it. But also back then, you couldn't download songs straight away. You couldn't download movies straight away. You had to queue up in a shop. You had to wait till the weekend so you could get into town to buy something. There was barely any online shopping. The need and desire for instant gratification has grown so much in the past sort of 2 decades that nobody gets that time and patience anymore. We get a lot of fans that are standards. And my problem with the standard conversation is that it doesn't really hold any water in reality. Like shouting and screaming and thumping your hand on a desk doesn't make Manchester United play better football. Equally, the example I always give is this. I'm currently I am losing weight. I'm in the gym and I'm trying to exercise again. I'm never going to look like I did when I was 21. It's impossible at 39. However, I can't go from what I was at Christmas to where I want to be in 2, 3, 4, 5 months. No matter how good I eat, no matter how often I go, it's going to take time. It's going to take 6 to 9 months to truly lose the weight, get the strength back, grow the muscles, etc. It doesn't matter how high my standards are or how quickly I want it. There is a process to go through. Football fans like to ignore that and just shout. I don't know why they ignore it. They just shout a lot of absurdities. It makes good content, I suppose. I've got standards. I know more ball than you. Equally, you can't hide behind the process forever. If I'm 4 years after starting my process of losing weight and I'm fatter, you've got to answer those questions, right? You're clearly cutting corners or not good enough or not training right. But you sign someone like a Dorgu now, which is the talking point. There's no evidence that he's not working hard. There's no evidence that we think we've bought a dud. So give it a little bit of patience, for God's sakes. Give it a little bit of patience and time. Comment here from Ewan, who's been a member for 9 months. So thank you very much. It says, Dorgu is still young and you can see glimpses of potential. The pressure that people put on him will affect him mentally, which is career damaging. And look, I can't put every Man United fan in this category because someone just won't fancy him or rate him, and that's fair. There are a lot of online personalities, though, that don't care about damaging a young player's mentality, don't care whether their rants hurt or benefit the team. They just want to be seen and heard. They just want to get attention. They just want to push out their absolute drivel because it's their job. A little bit like a Katie Hopkins. I'm going to say something controversial because it's going to get attention. That's what happens now. And look, I've been accused of doing that. If you watch me long enough and regularly enough, you know that's not what I do. You can take an opinion and go, oh my God, it's rage bait. But some people, it's just they're angry about everything. And you've always got to look for it. How often are they coming out with the most outrageous takes? How often do they back their team? When you watch them on their watch-alongs and their team scores, are they happier then? More emotional then, or when they concede? You can just start looking for the regularity of these things. And there's a lot of them that are charlatans, a lot of them that are fake, a lot of them that don't. I'm not saying they're not Man United fans, but they put, how can I go viral on TikTok? How can I go viral on Twitter? How can I go viral on Instagram? They put that above, what do I really think of my football club? What's my honest and true opinion? Or what's best for my football club? I truly believe that exists. I really, really do. I really believe it exists. Terry without tattoos would look great. Yeah, I'm not having them removed. Maybe one day, but I like my tattoos, but thank you. Terry, no one is saying destroy him. They are saying he was hyped up and he's not even at the level that was expected after the hype. But Dad, what was the hype? Do you know how I know there was no hype about Dorgu? Bluntly, show me the content where people were begging for him. Show me the tweets. Show me the articles. Go back and look on the football terrace. Go back and look here on the United Stand, even more importantly, when the conversation about fullbacks and left backs were being discussed. And go back and look at the live chat and see who was saying Dorgu. Go back to just December, maybe a bit earlier before we were linked to him, November, and see who was saying Dorgu. We need this Dorgu kid. I see this fullback called Dorgu. Legend. Nobody was doing that. Nobody was talking about him. So what hype? Zero hype around this kid. Nuno Mendes is who we were first linked to. That person had hype on purpose. There was no hype around Dorgu. Come on now. This is disingenuous nonsense. And I'm sorry to call out the community here, but that is not on. There was zero hype because none of us knew who he was. All of us were taking his name. First of all, we were thank God Patrick. That's fine. But we were taking his name and we were all running it through Google Translate to go, how do I say that? We didn't know who he was. Come on now. So for me, that's a crazy comment. It's a crazy comment. He's had some really good games. He's had a few off games. And this is a young man who has moved countries. He's joined a team in transition in a very difficult season. I ain't expecting him to be Ronaldinho. Come on now. This is crazy. Crazy. I had to Google Dorgu. Yeah, we all did. Someone mentioned it on my stream once. Have you heard a link to a guy called Dorgu? I went and Googled it to see if it was like a real person or not. I thought maybe it was because sometimes people get me, they try and get me. They never get me, but they try. Where they'll put a name in of a player from like a TV show, a character from a TV show, and see if I think it's a player and pretend. So there we go. There wasn't no hype, is what Star-Lord said. Yeah, Star-Lord, you're bang on. There was no hype around Dorgu, man. This is just a lie. I don't know why it's being pushed by Man United fans, but 110% none. There was none whatsoever. I thought he was a Star Wars Dorgu. We're trying to sign someone called Gumball. I don't even know what that means. CJ says, I thought he was from The Mandalorian. Do you think we will have more? Who do you think will have more impact, Cunha or Mbomo? Oh, great question. Cunha. Both, if they both join, they're going to kill it. If either one joins, they're both going to smash it. They're both excellent. But if I have to choose, if you're putting me on the spot, knee-jerk, gut reaction, yeah, it's Cunha. Cunha's just got a bit... Cunha is better on the ball. Cunha is... Listen, they've both got great pace. Both can score goals. But in terms of the playmaking element, for me, Cunha stands out. Stands out to me. Jay here with a member chat. 44 months as a member. You absolute legend, you. Says, shout out to Terry. I've seen your journey from 50K to 400K. Now you're with the United Stand. Big up. I appreciate that, mate. And look, it's an interesting one on the football terrace. We were talking about this today. Like, it's a little bit quiet over there at the moment because I love the community we built on the football terrace because we laugh and joke when people lose and stuff, but it's primarily based on positivity and not by design. It's just how it's gone. You know, when Chelsea are doing well, we're really busy. When Arsenal are doing well, we're really busy. When Liverpool we're doing well, but they're in a race, we're busy. When United do well, we're busy. And it's been a bit of a weird season because no one's been that great. Liverpool fans were like, oh, we've won it now, we've gone away. But it's a brilliant community and I love it. I love the match reactions. I love what we do. And I love that we're now working with the United Stand and working in tandem and working together like the community should. So thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. And if you guys, by the way, haven't seen my channel, I know Mark won't mind me saying this, get across to the football terrace, go check out some of our shows. We cover more than just Man United. Would love to get your views and opinions on them. Get yourself subscribed over there and get yourself watching. That'd be amazing. And thank you, Suzanne, for your comment as well. It means a great deal to me. D here, D3 says, I have a better question for everyone here. When will we change the medical staff? Asking for a friend. Yeah, great point. I hope we improve in those areas as well. I really, really do. I really hope we do. Terry, if you could buy one, Gyökeres or Cunha? Oh. Gyökeres. Because that prolific number 9 is so important. But even then, I feel bad. No. I'm going Gyökeres. I'm just Gyökeres. That's a hard one. I feel bad because they're both fantastic. But if I have to choose, again, I'm just going to say what my head said straight away with Gyökeres. Gyökeres. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. What are you guys saying? What are you all saying in the comments? Terry, would I sell Bruno to get Gyökeres and Cunha? Why are you asking me these questions? No. We need that leadership. We need Bruno Fernandes. Oh, maybe though. Because long term. I'm not thinking long term. I went with what my head said, and then my gut went, no. Maybe the answer is yes. Especially if it's again, we've got to frame this right. If Gyökeres comes to United and keeps scoring like he's doing at Sporting, then the answer is yes. If we're going to create a hypothetical fantasy scenario, I'm creating a fantasy outcome. That makes you feel better about my decision. Mainu for Gyökeres. Oh, I'm not even answering anymore. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop, man. I'm stopping. Cunha, ask me why, Terry. Why? Always ask someone why. It's my little life lesson tonight. If someone can't articulate why, don't take the what seriously. That's not like a poetic saying. It's just how I view things. Someone says, I want Gyökeres. Oh, why? Don't know. Don't listen to it. The why is always more important than the what. The why. I got a call from my son's school. Your son's had a fight. First question was, of course, it was, is he safe? Yes. Why did the fight happen? I need to know why. Before I decide how angry to be, how sad to be, how proud to be, I need to know the circumstances. Why is always more important than the what, in my humble opinion. You're a sage, Terry. What does that mean? I've never been called a sage before. Calling someone a sage. What does that mean? Calling someone a sage implies they possess significant wisdom. Oh, and experience. Thanks. I appreciate that. I always think of the color, or more than the color. When I hear the word sage, I think of stuffing, like sage and onions. And I used to sell it at Barclays. It was a software that you used for like accounting in a business called Sage. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Let's have a look at some more comments here. Gyökeres might flop. Osimhen kind of more prolific and big stage proven. It's a really good point. I like Victor Osimhen. I like him. I'd take him at the football club in a heartbeat. This is from Hukim, who says, hey, Terry, will having more players with championship experience give us a real advantage over Spurs? When you say championship, you mean like winning trophies? Yeah, it should do, to handle the occasion and the pressure. That is where experience comes in. That should give us an advantage. But Spurs are a very good team. Please note to Semenyo, he has no creativity, is what Noah says here. That is an interesting shout. That is a very, very interesting shout there, that he has no creativity. Noah here with a super chat says, please, no Semenyo. He is a selfish winger that does not create. We don't need more selfish players. We need creative players that pass and possess. I think you mean. I don't know what you mean, actually. Pass and create is probably what you mean. But listen, I can take that. I could take that as a bit of feedback for him. I really, really can. Look, I want to thank each and every single person who was tuned in this evening. I'm always humbled by how many of you tune in. What are the likes saying right now? We're close to 1,000 likes. Let's get that up right now. United Stand is back tomorrow with more content, so make sure you're back here supporting the platform and channel. If you want to see more of me, get across to the football terrace and go and check it out now, people. But enjoy your Friday nights. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Cheers.